what's happening, people. Okay, so I'm starting the recording now. Okay. Sorry, but good day, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at Power Query Editor, and Pushkar is going to take us about Power Query Editor. The Microsoft Learning Community is being put to you by UrBizEdge, and UrBizEdge is a registered Microsoft Excel financial modeling, consulting, data analyst, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria, and also the developers of the Nigerian financial market analyst tool, which is available on Microsoft Office Store. So UrBizEdge offers physical classes as well as online classes. And so let us go straight to our presenter for today. So our presenter for today is a supply chain planner. He also has more than 2 years of experience using Excel and Power BI, and has completed various projects as well as on Excel as well as Power BI, and also giving trainings to different professionals. Hello, Pusha. Hello. Sorry.
Yeah. So hi all. So thanks for joining. We are just delayed by 10 minutes, but let's start. Okay. So first I will start sharing my screen. So just let me know once it is visible. When you can just tell me that it is visible because others are on the mute. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yes, I can see your screen. So I'll unmute if you participant. So if you have a question, you could also raise your hand up and I would unmute you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start our training with the Power Query. Right, so first of all, thanks Benny for the arranging this and the UrBizEdge to arranging this seminars for everyone. So I would not waste time and I would quickly share the context of this webinar. So first we will see what is the Power Query. So we'll take the introduction of that. Then we will see that how you can source the data into the Power Query. Then we'll see one example with the folder, that how you can easily load the folder data into the Power Query. Right. Then we will see that how you can close and load the data into the Excel file in which kind of forms. Then we will see some interesting functions of the Power Query like a split and extract, merge queries, and the conditional column, and the group by function, and unpivot and the pivot column. Okay, so without wasting time, I'll directly jump to my Excel file. Right. So what is the Power Query actually? Power Query is basically the ETL tool. Right, so you can just extract data from the different sources, you can transform it here, and then you can load it into the Excel file. Right, so let's see that how we can extract the data from which kind of sources. So if you go to the data tab, so first you will get this icon, that get and transform data. So in this function you can extract the data from the different sources. So some sources are already defined here, which are mostly used functions, which are mostly used the source location. If you have some more source location, then you just click on this get data. So first when you see the from file, so first option you got the Excel workbook, right? So you can directly load the data from the Excel workbook. Then you have one more option, which is the text or CSV file. Sometimes we load we extract the data from some kind of system like a SAP system or some kind of different system. So at that time the data is always not in the Excel format. Sometimes it is also in the CSV format, right? So it is always good to have this kind of data, and you can easily transform this kind of data into the Power Query, right? Then you can also load the XML or the JSON file, and the best option, you can also load the folder, right? We are going to see the example of that just after this introduction, right? Then if you have the database, if your organization has the database on the server, then you can easily connect this database with the SQL, right? If your organization is using the Microsoft Access, then you can also load the Access file here, right? And if you go to the other sources, then first it is asking the from table and range. From table and range means that if your data is in this Excel file only, right, which is in the table form, then you can load that data into the Power Query, right? The next is the web. So if you have some website in which you get the data and the data is getting changed every day, right, and you want the live data to be updated in your Excel, so you can just put your web URL into this web option, and the data will be extracted from that website. And whenever you will open the Excel and you just click on the refresh all, so whatever new data is updated on the website, that will be updated in your Excel view, Okay, so this is how we have different options of the sourcing, but most of the option which we use are the from the Excel, from the CSV, from the folder, and sometimes from the web also, right? And if you have the databases, then you can also connect the databases differently, right? So first we will see that how we can load the simple data into the Power Query, right? So I'll just go to the get data, click on the from file, and click on this from Excel workbook, right? Because my data is in the Excel form, so I will go to this Excel workbook. So now it is showing me the location of the disk. So I will select this table because I want to load this table, and now I'll click on the import. Right? So when I load it, so it is showing me the 4 files which are already there into that Excel file. So it is asking me that which file you want to load. Sometimes what happens, there are multiple files, but we do not know the name of them, so we need to do the cancel and then need to check again. But instead of that, Power Query has option. Whenever you will select any table of this, so it will show you the review here, that okay, this sheet has contains this data, this sheet contains this data. Okay, now for example, we want to load these 4 sheets, right, or the 2 sheets, so you can select the multiple option from here. So if I click on this multiple option, right, and I just want to take the cells and the product master, right? Now here you will see the 2 options, load and the transform data. Load means it will load the data into the Excel file. Transform means it will allow you to do some modification into this, into the same Excel file, okay, into the same data. So if you go in this drop down, so you will get more 2 options. First is a load and second is a load to. So we will see this load to option once we transform the data. Okay, it is not mandatory that you need to transform the data first then load, but you can also do the load first and then again jump to the Power Query and then you can transform the data. But do to follow the certain steps, so we will go with the first the transform data. So I'll click on this transform data. Yeah, so this is basically the Power Query window. So first I'll give you the quick introduction of this Power Query window, right? So first it is showing the query part. So whatever data you will load here as a query, that will be shown here. So you can see we have loaded 2 queries here, sales table and the product master, right? And here is your data table. So whatever data you have loaded into this spreadsheet, that will be shown in this file, right, in this part. And here is we have the formula bar, the same as Excel, but the Power Query has some different formulas compared to the Excel, right? They are not they are sometimes complex if we check compare with the Excel file. The next part is the query setting. Query setting first has the name of the query, so you can easily change the name of the query. So instead of the sales, if I change it to the sales table, right, so my query name will be changed everywhere. Okay, and the next thing is the most important part, which is the applied step. So whatever transformation you will do, the Power Query will record each and every step in this section, right? And you can easily jump on the back section which you have already done, right? It is the same as the macro. In macro also, you first record the steps, then the next time macro follow the each and every step. But sometimes if you need to do some modification or you need to jump to the previous steps, which are for example it is n minus 2 step, so it is quite complex with the VBA, right? You need to be a really good into the VBA to do that. But in Power Query you can easily jump on the previous steps, right, or just by just clicking on them. Okay, then we have this transformation tabs, right? First we have the transformation into the home, then we have some transformation into the transform tab, then also we have the very good option into the add column part. Okay. Okay. So once I have done this part, right, so I have not done any transformation right now, so now I will click on the close and load because now I want to load this file. So when I click here, so I will get 2 options, that's close and load and close and load 2. So I'll select on this option, close and load 2. So now you can see, now you have the 4 option to load the data of the sales table into this Excel file. You can load it as a table form, or else you can load it as a pivot table, or else you can load it as a pure chart also, or else you can just create the connection. What is meaning of only create connection? Sometimes if you want to load the multiple Excel files into the one Power Query master file, that you want to create the report and you need to extract the data from 10 different sheets, but you do not want to load the 10 different sheets into this Excel file. So you can just create only connection. So your that Excel file will be connected with this Power Query file, but it will be not shown as a data into the Excel file. Okay. So first I will select this option as a table and I'll click on OK. Right, so you can see it is getting the data. Right, so first it took the product master and then now it has the sales table. So it has took the two tables from that sheet into this sheet. Okay, I will delete this file. Okay. Now, for example, so these was the sourcing of the normal Excel file, right, which we have just extracted. But for example, if you have this kind of folder, which is my monthly sales, and this monthly sales, you have this kind of all the months, which are the sales month, right? So in every month you get the sales file, which is in the same format with the same column name, right? But the only data gets changed. And now you need to analyze this all 12 files together. So what you will do, you will just copy paste data from one Excel file to the another Excel file, and like that you will follow. But instead of that, if you go to the Power Query, go to the data section, if you go here and you can select this option from folder, right? If you click on the from folder, so now it will ask you for the folder location. So, right, so here you can see the all the files which were already there, they are now not available. Now you cannot see them, you can just see the folder. So now I'll select this folder, I'll click on open. Right, so now you can see there is a one more option added, which is called combine. Earlier it was only two options, load to and the transform, but now we have one more option which is called combine. So if I click on combine, so now I have three options, that combine and transform data, or combine and load data, or combine and load to data. So if I select the first option, combine and transform data, so what it will do, it will combine all these 12 files and it will take us to the Power Query editor to do some changes. Second option, it has a combine and load. So what it will do, it will combine all these files, it will directly load into the Excel. Or else if we want to load into the pivot form or the only create connection, then we can select this third option. Right, but instead of that I will select this transform data option. Okay, right, so now you can see I have loaded this data into the Power Query. Right, so now we have all the different Excel files here. You can see all the 12 files already available here. Right, so these are the names of that file, this is the extension of that file, and all the other details of that file. Right, so when you just loaded this folder, now you get a one option here, that is a combine. First you can show the content. Contents means the data which is available in each and every Excel file, right? And if you select this double arrow, which is called combine files, right? So I am selecting on that. Right? So now it is asking me that select the object to be extracted from each file, right? And to select, that means we need to select the sheet name from each and every Excel file. That which are, because many Excel files can have 10, 12 sheets or 2, 3 sheets. So we need to extract the specific Excel sheet from the different Excel files, right? And first we need to select the sample file, that whatever we do the transformation, that will apply to the sample file, then it will apply to all other files, right? So I know this is my table, so you can see the table data here. So I'll select this table and I'll click on OK. Okay, so now all the data got combined into the one Excel file. Okay, right, so here you can see there are now many queries already created. Right, earlier it was only sales table and the product master, but now we have many queries created. What are these queries? First, it has this helper queries. In the helper queries we have the transform sample file. What is our transform sample file? Our transform sample file was April, right, which we have selected, which was by default it was the first file, that's why. Then we have the second transform file, which is the parameter. You can add the parameters here, right? And now if you want to see that which was my sample file, so if you click on the sample file, so it is showing us that yes, April is your sample file, right? And then if you click on the monthly cell, so this file has the combination of all that files. Okay. So now if I just quickly close and load to this file, because okay, it has shown me some errors because there are some different folders into that. So I'll just delete all these files, right? So we will get also example that how we should not make the mistake to do this kind of transformation. So I'll just control X this file and I'll paste it here. Okay. So now if I go to this monthly cell and in the table, if I see open this April file, so you can see that file is already into the table form, and the name of the table is the table 4, right? And the different Excel file has a different names of the table, right? So instead of that, I will just convert this data into the normal data. So I will just select the data, I'll go to the table and I will select the convert to range, right? So now this data is not in the table form, and you can see the name of the spreadsheet is the cells. So I will now load one more file in that folder. For example, now I'm taking the December file. I'm not going into the sequence of the month because for us the learning is important instead of the sequence of the month. So now I also convert this data because if you go to the table design, it has the name of the table 12, right? So that's why we got the error. So I'll select the data and click on the convert to range. Okay, right? And you can see that this file also have the name of the spreadsheet as a cells. So this is the learning for us that or every Excel file should have the same name here, right? It has the sales name, and if I open the April file, which was earlier, so it should be also have the same name, right? So it has also sales name, and now I'll close these files, save, and now I will go to this monthly sales, double click on this, and now I'll just refresh this. So let me refresh and preview this, right? So still we are getting errors. So let's now, okay, let's close this, okay, and now let's try to combine. Are we getting the data or not? Okay. So now you can see instead of this table, now it is showing me the cells because that is the name of the spreadsheet. Earlier it was showing me the table, and the April file was having the name of the table 2, but the December file was having that name table 12. That's why it was not able to find that which table I should extract from the each and every Excel file which are in that folder. So I select the sales table and now I'll click on OK. Right. So you can see it is evaluating the cells, right? Okay, so now it has combined this. Okay. Right. So this is how you need to take care of this, that always load the files, load the folder files into the folder which should have the same name of the spreadsheet. Okay. So I just increase it, then in the view tab I'll on the query setting. Okay. So first we have learned about the sourcing, and also we have learned about the close and load option, right? So now let's check some transformation. So before that, if you check on the every column, you get some small box here, right? You can see the ABC123, 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 right? And now when I click on this change type step, so you can see the format got changed to 123 ABC date like this. What was that? Because this ABC123 is a default format of the each and every column, right? But Power Query on its own has changed the formats of the column. Power Query detected that okay, this column has only number, so it has only selected the format as a whole number. For the order date, you can see it has changed to the date. If you still want to change some format, because if you find that okay, this format is not correct, so you can just click on this square, right, and you can change the formats, right? For example, this order date, if you have the time also, but Power Query was not able to detect, so instead of this date, if you can select the date and time option also, right? So it is asking me that if you want to replace this current step, so yes, I want to replace this current step, right? So you can see now my date converted into the date and time option, but we know that our correct format is a date only, so we will keep the date only, right? So this change type is the step applied by the Power Query on its own according to the format of the column. Okay. Then we have some column and the row options, right? Which are the row and managing of the rows and columns. So if you go to the choose column, if you select on the choose column, right? And instead of now you got all the names of the column. So if I select any five, so I just want to see these 5 columns. right? Not other column. So I'll just select this column and I'll click on OK. And now you can see all other column got removed automatically, right? So whenever, if you have, for example, right now we had only the 21 columns, but instead of your file has a 30, 40, 50 columns, and you just want that, okay, my important columns are only 10. So you can just go to the choose column. You can go to option here and you can select this column and click on OK. So all other columns will be removed. Or else what you can do, you can just select this column by pressing the control and just right click and select on this option that remove other columns, right? So if I click on the remove other column, you can see except this for all other columns got removed. And now you can see that my step got added, which is called the remove other column step, right? So tomorrow if I get the new data, right, in the monthly cells, and this form, this what I can say, this transformation will be automatically applied to that new data, and it will only keep these 4 columns and it will remove other columns. Okay, yeah, but the column name should be the identical. The column names today, if are the order ID, ship date, ship mode, and the customer ID, then tomorrow with the new data also it should have the same column name. Because if you change the name of the column, then it will show the error. Okay. So same thing you can, as I told you, you can do with the remove column and the remove other column. You also get the options here. The next part is the keep rows, keep top rows, keep bottom rows. What is the meaning of that? So if you select the keep top rows and if I select the only 10, so that is meaning that I just want my first 10 rows. I do not want the other rows. So I have just selected the kept first 10 rows and the other rows automatically got removed. Okay, so you can do this kind of thing. So you can also select the next option, which is called keep bottom rows. So in this transformation, it will keep only the bottom rows and it will remove other rows, right? Same you can do with the range, right? For the range you just need to give the specific number that, okay, from this 5th row it should get start, and after the 5th it should keep only the 10th row. Okay, so after 5 it should show me the next 10th row, so it will select the after the 5, 5, 6, 7, like that 10 rows. Okay, so for example in this product master, if you can see, right, so our first our this title, this is the product ID, category, subcategory, and the product name. This has come to the below rows, right? So instead, then but ideally the name should be name should be here, like in the column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So what you will do, so in this kind of case, you can select this option that use my first row as a header, right? So if I select this option that use my first row as a header, so you can see the first row is gone into this title of these columns. Okay, I just got this, so I thought let's store this. Okay, so you can easily do this. But sometimes if you got your row data into the name as a column, so you have another option also that you can use this one, that use header as a first row. So if I click on the use header as a first row, so you can see my title of the column came into the first row. Okay, just give me a minute. Right. Yeah, I'm back. Right? So we have seen this transfer. So now next thing is the split column. What is the basically the split column? The split column is the same as the text to column, which we do into the Excel, but it is a quite easier than the Excel, and it is a really fun, to be honest, right? So for example, first you can see the order ID. Order ID first has the 2 characters which are showing me the name of the country. So you can see this Canada, US, like that. Okay, so now I just want to split this first 2 characters into the different column. So I just select this column and go to the split. Now here you got the option as a delimiter. Like, what is my delimiter? So if I select on this option, so you can see it has automatically detected that our delimiter is this one. But sometimes if the Power Query is not able to detect your delimiter, then you can also manually type this delimiter. Okay, then you have option that split at a leftmost delimiter, rightmost delimiter, or each occurrence of the delimiter. So for me, I just want to extract this part. So for that I will select this one, that leftmost delimiter, right? Because if I select the each occurrence of the delimiter, then it will separate this one, then it will separate this one, and then it will separate this one. Okay, Okay, let's take each occurrence, because let's separate this one column into the three parts. So I'll select this option, each occurrence of the delimiter, and our delimiter is the same. Now I'll click on OK. Right, so now you can see the first it extracted the first two characters, then it is a year, then it is the order ID number. Okay, so in organization we have sometimes unique codes. So if you want to split the unique codes, because to analyze the data, you can also select this option. Right? So now you can see that Power Query has recorded your steps, split column by delimiter. So if you tomorrow you get a new data, you do not need to split it again. It will automatically split for you into the three columns, different columns. Okay, so I'll just delete this step. So it's the same thing. You have the different option. For example, you have the by number of characters. So if I select the by number of characters, and if I select the two only, because now I just want to extract this country, and now I'll select this option, that once as far left as possible. And I will click on OK. So now you can see that it will only extract the CA and the US and the name of the country part. In the other part, it has splitted it to the different column. Okay. So I'll also delete step. And the same thing you have by the position. So you can just specify the position of the context which you want to split, and you can give it, right? But then there is by lowercase to uppercase. I cannot select the each and option, every option right now, because we need to cover the most of the part, right? So it will take the time, right? So you can also select the by lowercase to uppercase. So in that case, what it will do? So it will find the lowercase, so it will split that, and then it will split the uppercase, right? So for example, if I select this column, right, into the split by, I will select this option, that by uppercase to lowercase, right? So now what it will do? First, it has just removed the uppercase, which has find first, and then it has splitted the other part into this next column, right? So same thing you can do with the digit and the non-digit part. Okay, so if your number is starting with some digit, and then it is something like A, B, C, D, or whatever it is, and you want to split them, then you can also use this option, that digit to non-digit. The same thing, if your cell context start with some A, B, C, D, and then it is the number, then you can select this option, by non-digit to digit. Okay, so I hope everything is clear till here. Right? Okay,
Yeah, everything is
so
clear so far. Okay.
okay. Yeah, so next option we will see the group by function, which is a quite useful for everyone, I can say. Right? What is the group by function actually? Sometimes you want to, for example, right now we have the sales data, right? But which is a very huge data. You can see it has a more than 1,000 rows, right? But your boss to tell you that, okay, I just want to analyze the sales with respect to only state, that how much sales in each and every state. Okay, so just give me that data quickly. So what you will do, you will just select the data, you will create the pivot table, and you will just take the state into the row part and the sales into this value part, right? So same thing you can do into the Power Query, right? So first I will select the state, and now I will select the group by option. Right? When you select the group by option, first it has a two things, basic and the advanced. Right? So first let's start with the basic. So I have selected the state column, which is showing here. Now it is asking me for the new column name. Right? So I want to see the total sales. So it's like the total sales. In the operation, I want to do the operation as a sum. Right? Because obviously I need to do the sum of the sales. I cannot count the sales. Now in the column, I will select this one, the sales. What is my sales? Because I want to see the how much sales has been done. So I'll select the sales option. Now I'll click on OK. Right? So you can see all other rows got removed, all other columns got removed, and now you have only two columns, right? Which is a summary of the sales, it based on the different states, right? So for example, here if you have the sales for the same state into the two or three different rows. For example, here you have the sales for the California in the three different rows. So this all sales got sum up and came in this file, right? So this is the sum of that all the California sales, right? So this is how you can do. Now you can do one more thing. You can also analyze the multiple things, right? For example, now I'll click on this setting button, right? Now I'll just click on that, and now instead of basic, I'll select the advanced option. So what should be the advanced? So now in the advanced, you can add the more fields, right? With the state, you can also add the more fields. So in the grouping, now I'll also take the, let's take the region, okay, or else let's take the category. Okay, so I'm taking the category because I want to see that how much category, which category sales has been the highest into the state. So I'll select the category option, and I also want to see the how much quantity has been sold. So in this add aggregation, I will now add a column which is called the total quantity. Now I'll select the sum option, and now I'll select the quantity. Now I'll click on OK. So now you can see it has summarized the data of the total sales and the total quantity with respect to the state and the category. Okay. So in the Washington category, office supplies, the total sales is $7,321, and the total quantity has been sold is at 221. Okay. So this is how you can use the group by function, right? Then we have option of the merge query and the append query. So what is basically the merge query? Let me give you the example, right? So here we have the different sales data. Instead of this monthly sales, now we have the different sales data. In this different sales data, you can see the product ID name and the product number, product name and the product ID, right? But you do not have the product category and the subcategory. And all this data, all the master of this product are lying in this file. So here you can see the product ID is also there, category is also there, name is also there, subcategory is also there. So I just want to extract the category and the subcategory for this product, different IDs. So basically in Excel, what we will do, we will do some lookup formula, right? We look up X lookup or index match. But here you can do the different thing which is called the merge query. Right? So if I click on this merge query, right, so now it is showing me the first table which is right now active. So our sales table is right now active, and now it is asking me to select the different another table. So now I'll select the product master here, because product master is my lookup table from which I want to extract the category and the subcategory into the sales table. Okay. So now here I will select the product ID, and now I'll place the control, and I'll also select the product ID here. So now you can see we got all the match of 99 rows, right? So now if I click on OK, so now you can see the product master column got added, and now it is asking us for the context, that what context you want. So if you click on this double arrow, so if I click on this double arrow, now it is showing us all the columns which are available into the product master, right? So from the product master, I just want to extract the category and the subcategory. So I will just select this both the column, and I'll click on OK. So now you can see now we have the category from the product master, and we also have the subcategory from the product master, right? If you try to do with the lookup formula, then you need to type the two lookup formula, or the in the X lookup you can select the array, but that will be the limited. So tomorrow if you get the new row, so you need to extract the formula till the new row. But now the steps are recorded into the Power Query. So whenever if you get the new data, new sales data, and you just need to quickly extract the master category and the subcategory from the master, you just do this merge query one time. So whenever you will get a new data, just come to the Excel and do the refresh all, and this master, this category and the subcategory from the master will be automatically extracted into this your sales file. Okay. Then we have the append query. What is the append query? Basically,
So,
the append query.
there's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you can speak.
Okay. Yeah, Vikas.
Yeah, hello.
Vikas, you are on mute. So Vinny, let's take the question in the last 5 minutes, right? Or else we will not able to take all the things. Okay.
Okay, no. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. So what is the append query basically? What append query means, as I given the example of the folder, right? So you have the folder in which you have the different sales table, right? Different sales file of the different months, and you just want to merge them one by one, right? So you can do the same thing with the append queries, right? So if you just have the two data, which is one is for the January month, one is for the February month, and now you want to just load the data, you just want to merge this data from one after another. So you can select this append query option, right? So you can just select this append query, and you can select these two tables, first table and the second table, and then click on OK. So the data from the first file and the second file will be merged. So for the data which will end at of the first table, then from the next row it will start for the next table. Okay, like that. So append query is the almost same as the folder part, right? But in the folder you need to take care of that sheet name. That the sheet name should be the identical in each and every file of the folder. But when you load the different files from the different Excels, right, then it is fine. Then you can load the other file. Okay. Okay, so now we will go to this transform part. So in the transform part, first is the group by function, which we have already seen, right? Then we have this pivot and unpivot column. So to get this unpivot and the pivot column, let's extract one more Excel file into this file. So I'll go to the new source, go to the file, and I'll select this Excel workbook. Just go back, and now in this I will select the file, this one. Yeah. Now I'll import that file. Okay, this file has only one sheet, so I'll click on OK. So now you can see I have many blank rows. So I'll just select this column and I will go to this row and I will select this option that remove blank rows. Right. So my rows got blank rows got removed. And now the region this month I just want them as a header. So I'll select the first option that use first row as a header. Right. So now you have this kind of data, the month and the regions, right? But now your boss wants that your this month should be come into these rows, this region should go into this column, different columns. So yeah, you can definitely do this is the pivot table. Instead of that, you have one more option in the Power Query, which is called the pivot and the unpivot part. Right? So I will select all this column by just clicking on the shift, right? And I will go to this unpivot column. In unpivot column, you have three options: that unpivot columns, unpivot other columns, and unpivot only selected columns. What is the meaning of the unpivot column? So unpivot columns means whatever columns will be there. If instead of this 12 column, if we add the new column, then it will also get unpivot. Right? The next thing is the unpivot other column. So I have selected these 12 columns. So if I select this option, that unpivot other columns, then it will just unpivot the first column. It will leave this 12 column as it is. But we will select this option because I want that in future also the unpivot option, unpivot transformation should do to only this 12 columns from January to December. Obviously, that is the ideal case. So now I'll select this option, that unpivot only selected columns. So now you can see the all the names which were there into the columns came into the different rows, right? So now you can easily analyze this data, right? But our target was that region should be in the different columns. So now we have selected this unpivot option. Now we will select this region, and now we will select this one, that pivot column. So if I click on the pivot column, so now it is asking me that what is my value column, because we always need to give the value column when you select the pivot column option. So we know that our cells is in this column, which is the value column. So in this value column, I'll select the column name value, click on OK. Right. So you can see our all region came into this different columns, and now your all months are here, right, into the different rows. Okay. So this is how you can use this unpivot and the pivot column option. Great. Then you have the split column part. Split column is the same which we have seen earlier, right? In the format, what you can do some formatting to your text. For example, you just want this city to be in the lowercase, so you can just click on this lowercase. So you can see the text got converted into the lowercase. So this is how you can convert into the uppercase also. And then you can, if you want to do the some ideal situation, then you can select this capitalize each word option, right? So it will just do capitalization to the first character, and then it will leave the other character as it is. Then you have the trim function. What is the trim function? Sometimes you got the text or the context in the cells which have some extra spaces, right? You must have faced this issue that you have this extra spaces into the different text. So that time you can just select the columns and you can just trim it. So extra spaces will be removed. Right? So now if you put any kind of formula, so it will not show you the error. Okay. So this is how you can use this format part. Then if I jump to this sales table, now we have some dates here, right? So this part is very useful when you do some analysis, right? Forecasting or whatever. So for example, right now we have the order date, but I also want to analyze this data with the quarterly, monthly, yearly, right? So you can see whenever I select the different columns, and if I go to this date column, you can see all other column or other option got disappeared instead of this pairs, which is not useful for us. But if I select this date column, which is in the date format, so now you can see the all format, all option got activated. So if I select this column and if I click on the age first option, so what it will do, it will just subtract the today's date minus the date which were in this row, and it will give the days, right? But you can see when I have done the calculated age, first of all it has changed the format of the column into the time, which is the completely wrong. So you need to select here and you need to select the whole number, right? But one thing also happened, that it has replaced my order date and converted into the days. So I do not want that. I also want my date. So you can use the same date option into this add column. So if you just go to add column and into this date, if I select on the age, so now you can see at the last we have the age. So it is in the days. So now I select it as a whole number. So now the first row is a 2730 days old. It's why if calculate we will calculate with the 2nd October, right? Then you have the date only. So date only means it will keep the same date. Okay, so that is not useful for us. Then there is a year. So if I click on the year, so it will extract the year of the specific rows, right? Then there is a start of the year. So if I select this option, so it will give me the start of the year, which should be always the 1st January, right? So that is also doesn't make sense for me much, but you can use that if you are doing some budgeting kind of thing. Then the same part you have for the end of the year. So obviously it will be always the 31st December, but the year will be changed according to the rule. The next thing is the month have some interesting things. So if you click on the month, so it will give you the number of the month, that which number it is. So if I click on the number of the month, so you can see now it is showing me the number of the month, right? Then if I select this column again, now in the month I will select the start of the month. So start of the month is always the first date, so that is fine. But if I select the end of the month, so end of the month you can know that it could be 30, 31 or the 28 also, right? So right now we have the only April data, so it is only showing the 30, but you can see if I select the drop down, we have 31st December also, right? And we might have the for the February, we might have the 28 if there is a row which is in the February month, right? So you will get the 28 also. Now if you want the name of the month, so you can also do the same thing. If you can just select this option also, days in the month, so you will get that how many days were there in the specific month. If you want to do some calculation, that divided by the total sales divided by the days of the month, so you can select this option, the days in the month. Then you can also select this option, the name of the month, so it will give you the name of that specific month. You can see it is April and the December and everything, right? Then you have the quarter, right? Quarter of the year. So it is quite useful for everyone, that if you select the quarter of the year, so it will give you that okay, this is first, or this is in the first quarter, second quarter, third, or the fourth quarter, right? Second option is also useful, that start of the quarter. So it will give you the first date of the quarter. So if in first quarter, then it will show the 1st January. If it is the second quarter, then it will show the 1st April, right? And accordingly it will show the other dates. And also you have option for the end of the quarter. So it will show you that okay, this one's got ended on the 31st March, which was the end of the first quarter, like that. Okay, so let me give you one example. If I select the end of the quarter, so you can see okay, the for first row the end of the quarter was the 30 January 2050, like that. The same thing you have for the week, right? It has some interesting thing, like first it has the week of the year. So it will give you that okay, this many weeks, we have 52 weeks, so it will give you that okay, it is lying into the 30 week, 34, 50, 60, whatever it is, right? Then same thing you have for the week of the month, right? That it generally we have 4 to 5 weeks in the month, so it will show you that okay, in the specific month it was the third week when these sales happened. Like then it will show you also the start of the week, that from which date the week was started. So it is also quite useful for you. Then you have also the end of the week. it will give you the end of that specific week in which this sales has happened or the order has been placed, right? For the day also you can do the day of the week. So which day is the on the 1 to 7, which was it days, the second, third, fourth day of the year. You can also see from the 365 which day it was. Right? Start of the day is obviously give you the same day, and end of the day will also give you the same day, right? And the, if you select on the name of the day, so now you can see it will also give you the name of the day: Sunday, Thursday, Monday, Saturday. You can see, right? But if you have the data into the time format, right, so then this time option will also get activated, and that time you can also do some changes and modification with the minutes, hours, seconds, and everything. Okay, so I hope it's clear till here, right? So we guess, I guess we have only left with the 6 minutes. So Benny, we would like to take the questions, or I need to complete the other parts?
But you say like you say like have most of your own to do, or just because if there are any questions you could take it, but the guy that wanted to ask the question kind of left the group, has left the show. So, but are there any questions?
Okay, we do not have any questions. So if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands and we will take the question. Okay. In that, I'll go to the next option, which is available into the column part, which is the add column part. So in the add column, we have many things. First is a column from example, custom columns, invoke in the conditional column, index column, the duplicate column. So first we will take the example of this conditional column. What is the conditional column? Basically, it is the basically the if formula which you do into the Excel, right? So if I select on this conditional column, right? So now first it is asking me the name of the column, that what should be the name of the specific column, that which you I want to add. So I will give name it as a business health. And now I'll select the column, that which column you want to select. So I'll select this sales column, right? And it is asking me the operator. So in the operator, now I want to put the option as a greater than. Okay? So in the greater than, I can give here value, or else you can, if you have some specific column in this Excel file, so you can also select that column, that okay, my sales table, if my sales table is greater than this column, right, for respective rows, then show me the something, or else nothing. Okay, so right now we are working with the values, so I'll just put here the 200, or let's put as a 500, right? Then it is asking, then if it is a greater than 500, then what it should show. So I will type as a good. Okay, instead of that, if you want to select any column, then okay, if the sales is greater than 500, then it should show the this name of the column, or the this data of this specific column, right? But right now we are just putting the value, so I have just type the good, or else, then what should be the else, that it is the wrong, then it should show the bad one. Right? So you can see now the condition got applied. So here you can see the, if the sales, we will check the sales is less than the 200 or the 500, so that's why it is showing the bad. And in this column, in this row, if you select this, if you see the sales is greater than 500, so it is showing us the good, right? But you can also add the multiple condition here. So if I again go to this add conditional column, right, and you have one more option which is called add clause, right? So if I add the one more option here, right, that if this condition did not match, then it should jump to the another condition. So instead of this 500, now I'll change it to the 200, and now I'll put one more option, that if my sales, okay, let's keep it the 500 only, and let's take now it is a greater than 100 only. Okay? If it is a greater than 100, then it should show me the grade, okay, or the average. Okay? So we have applied two conditions, that if the sales is greater than 500, then show us the good, but if it is not able to detect the 500, then jump to the second condition, that okay, if my sales value is greater than 100, then show me the average, or else show me the bad. So let's click on OK. So now you can see, now we have one more condition got added, that okay, it was less than 100, so they are showing as a bad, but yeah, it was greater than 100, but it was less than 500, so it is showing as the average, and this one is a greater than 500, so it is showing as a good, right? So this is how you can add the multiple condition into the conditional. then you have the index column. So in index, basically we do the indexing, that 0 1 2 3. So you have some good feature here that you can start your index from 0. So you can, if I select the 0, so you can see my index got added from 0 to till the last one. Okay? But you can also add the your custom index, right? So if I click on the custom index, and now if you want to start your index with some specific number, so I want to start my index with a specific number, and what should be the increment, right? So I want my index to be increased 2 in each and every row, one after another row. So I'll click on the 2 and I'll click on OK. So now you can see it has given the 5 7 9 11. And so this kind of thing is useful when you need to create some specific codes for the specific rows. And if you want to represent some rows into the specific this kind of one, so you can create this kind of in the index, and you can just combine them with the whatever rows you want, right? So if you want to combine with this, you can just select this to both the columns, and you right click and you can just merge these columns, right? So it will create a one unique column for you, so through this which you can identify the different rows. Okay, so they will be, every row will be unique. Okay? If you use this index to merge with some different columns to create some unique code, right? So I hope everything is clear here. So obviously we cannot take all the transformation into the this 1 hour session, right? So I would be happy to teach you every and each and every transformation, because we have some good transformation also. We can create some reports also, but right now we have short time, so I need to close this webinar here only, right? So you can also follow me on the LinkedIn, right? If you have any kind of query or if you want to ask any kind of question, then you can ask me on the LinkedIn. Okay, so I hope everything is clear and you like the session. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or else you can directly ask me on the LinkedIn.
So thanks so much for this session. Yeah, if there are any questions, you should raise your hand. Well, I also posted his LinkedIn on the in the chat. The person I wanted to skip has kind of left the session right now. Could reach out to him on LinkedIn, but of course, it should be a bit respectful of his. It should be respectful of his time, like not maybe, yeah. So thank you so much for this session. You're having applause. Hope to see you again. Final session.
Yeah,
Think
definitely.
say a lot of transformations like in Power Query and all you could do. Yeah. So since there are no questions, we usually ask our guests 2 questions at the end of every webinar. We usually ask them how did they get started in data analysis, and maybe advice for those that maybe want to learn or get on this path.
Sure. Okay,
So
thanks everyone, and thanks Pinny.
so how did you get started in data analysis? Like you, how did you get started?
Sorry?
Like how did you get started in data analysis? Like
You want to
just
start with
your
the data
journey.
analytics?
Yeah, so that what advice do you have for those that want to maybe start data analysis?
Yeah, so
Maybe.
when you, if you want to jump into the data analytics, so the basic thing, don't try to learn each and everything at the one go, right? You cannot learn everything in a one go, so just start with the basic Excel. So all the Excel concepts should be clear to you. The Power Query, you should have a good grip on the Power Query, on the data modeling, which is called the Power Pivot, and in the visualization, if I talk, so you must have the good grip on the Power BI. So first start with these three things, get a good grip on them, and then jump to your SQL, or then you can jump to some different languages, right? You can also learn the Tableau, like for the visualization, but don't make your thing more harsh for you, right? So just start with the Excel, Power BI, and the Power Query editor and this data modeling, and try to do some projects and make your portfolio. It is mandatory to make the portfolio if you want to jump into the data analytics, right? You need to show your work, you need to show your some reports, dashboards, right? So that people will trust you to do, to give their opportunity to you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much for that advice. So I'll be ending the session now. Yeah, and see you next week, same time. And thank you
Okay.
again once again for this session.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Vinny. Bye.